Let's freaking go. Arkansas Razorback Nation. I need some positive vibes out of you guys because I can't get enough of these Alabama fans saying that this game is going to be a beatdown. But honestly, what's even crazier is there is no absolute chatter about this game at all. It just feels like Arkansas at the end of this 4-game road trip is in a position where they don't even believe in themselves. This is the Fighting Sam Pittmans. One of the things that Arkansas really was at the beginning of the Sam Pittman era was tough. They said, look, we're going to come out here and fight you to the bitter end. But it just seems, please correct me if I'm wrong, whoever you are watching this right now, it just seems, Arkansas fans, that you are just accepting the fact that Alabama is going to come in here and beat the snot out of you, which is crazy considering the last 2 times you guys have played. The game has been very competitive. Now, did some of Nick Saban's decisions allow Arkansas to get back into this game last year? Yes. And did Bryce Young getting hurt help Arkansas get back into this game? Yes. But the truth is, the last time you went to Tuscaloosa, the last time you went down swinging. Okay. So this is my message to all of Arkansas fans. All right. The Woo Pig podcast. Check them out. They are such a great show. All right. We're like the coach from Waterboy, and Saban is red. Oh, that's so good. Them girls are the devil, Bobby. All-time great show. Now, I do want to discuss something here today. All right. My film studies and all that stuff are getting shared in a lot of different Arkansas groups, and that's great. I like doing the film studies. I like the actual X's and O's of football. I do. But what I want to share with you is one thing that drives me crazy is the decision-making of head coaches on 4th down. Okay, we say hi to Jared. Good to see you, man. So if I was a coach of a team and I had a team of people that really liked me and I liked them, and I were to ask them, hey, would you want to go down bold? Would you want to go down swinging? Would you want to go down playing the game on your own accord? The answer to that is yes. Players would say, yes, coach. Any decision you make, F the media, F the boosters, F your bosses, I am going to be behind you. But guess what happened last time Arkansas was in Tuscaloosa? Sam Pittman called not 1, but 2 4th down punts when he should have gone for it. Last time they were in Tuscaloosa, they had a 4th and 5 on their own 5-yard line. You should have gone for it. You were down by a touchdown. They punt the football back. Alabama scores immediately. And then on the ensuing drive, down 2 touchdowns. Arkansas, if I remember correctly, elected to punt. Then Sam Pittman called a timeout and then actually took the offense back on the field. And you ended up driving down the field and scoring. That's at least how I remember it. But all of this is just coming back to me. I was actually going in a different direction. But I was thinking last week versus Texas A&M. Okay. You guys know there's not many schools in the SEC I dislike more than Texas A&M. But Alabama is one of them. And I am also one of those people that really wanted Texas A&M to beat Arkansas. I say Arkansas. Alabama last week. And part of it is because I do have the over on Texas A&M's win total. I also think LSU would have an easier path if Texas A&M had won that game last week. But what happened? Jimbo Fisher, in plus territory, decided to punt the football on 4th and 1 in a tied game. The exact thing we did a video on earlier this offseason. Jimbo Fisher is a coward. Now, Sam Pittman has been very aggressive with his 4th down decisions this year, and I deeply appreciate that. The issue is Dan Enos's play calling on 4th down. It's been so bad. It's been so bad. So for me to see Arkansas pull the upset, you have got to go into this game thinking we have got to use all 4 of our downs to score on this defense. This Alabama defense is really good. It's really good. I didn't think they'd be this good. I know that sounds crazy, but I thought, well, they lost Will Anderson. They lost Brian Branch. They lost Battle. They lost some really good players. But they've got this true freshman named Caleb Downs at safety who is tremendous. They've got JaQuincy Kool-Aid McKinstry, number 1 at corner. And they've got the best pass rushing tandem in college football in Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell. So I truly do believe that Arkansas is in a world of trouble this weekend. I don't think they can protect. I don't think they're creative enough to create explosives down the field. I am also to the point now where is it even worth playing KJ for this full game? I hate this matchup for Arkansas. The 4th game on a 4-game road trip. Jared says he'd love to see Arkansas pull the upset. Van says, Alabama is going to smoke the Hogs. But I do want to share with you, and this was shared in our PHL Discord, okay, from Matthew Wiseman in our PHL Discord. Could this be a sign that Arkansas is pulling the upset this weekend? This is a screenshot from Total War Rome Remastered. And I know it's kind of small here, but the incendiary pigs of Rome were known for frightening elephants and attacking elephants. And it was their main use in warfare. The incendiary pig. Is this a sign? Is this a sign? To hit me, baby, one more time. Now, if you're from Louisiana, you know pop music, you know what that came from. Let's go to Woo Pig. Biggest super chat in the history of Power Hour SEC, or at least recent history. Wanted to show support to the SEC channel. Keep up the good work. Sick KJ. Put Criswell in to get beat up so everybody will shut up about benching KJ. Yeah, okay. Let me say this, all right? And I'm not going to speak on behalf of Woo Pig, even though this is our super chat, but I feel they feel the same way, okay? But I want this to be clear. And my LSU folks that are watching this right now, they know this. I have been hammered for being a KJ apologist. And I understand he is not playing the absolute best. And there's a lot of people victory lapping me saying, well, you know, Carter, you told us he was great, and he's not really that great. Are there some things he needs to do better? Yes, he is staring down receivers. Yes, he's not making the best decisions. Yes, he is being a little too much Superman. But I kid you not, 2 things have pissed me off about this channel and some of the comments under these videos is, you know, people saying, well, KJ's just not that smart. No, it has nothing to do with that. He's not used to playing in this system. He's not. This is a completely different system. The second thing is people tend to forget what last year would have looked like if KJ Jefferson was not your quarterback. You are winning maybe 4 games. Maybe 4 games. Okay? It is nonsense to think that he is just some quarterback who's not good. Now, have I been shocked by some of the things that I've seen? Yeah, I've been shocked. Do I think, and I won't say no, but I've heard things. Do I think he's playing through a lot? Yes. Remember, before the LSU game, listen closely here, Sam Pittman said he was banged up. Okay. The truth is, this offense stinks. It stinks. This is a good message to every single quarterback that may be listening to this right now. Okay. You know, the one thing that is so overrated in college football, it's the most overrated thing, is loyalty. I want you to take a look at all the quarterbacks who transferred out. Almost every single quarterback who is amongst the nation's elites this year are transfers. A lot of them transferred from good situations to better situations. You're lucky KJ stayed. You're lucky KJ didn't even enter the portal or didn't even consider the NFL draft. This is partially on KJ's struggles, on Sam Pittman. He made the offensive coordinator hire, and on top of that, he fielded an offensive line that would not have been good enough to play in the Chad Morris era. Okay? I have never seen an offensive line. And you can, I've done a lot of film studies on Arkansas. I've done a film study on every single game. Since the Kent State game, I tried to warn every Arkansas fan, this offensive line is terrible. It's terrible. You couldn't move Kent State. Kent State. I understand it sounds like I'm making excuses for KJ. I'm not. I'm telling you straight up. The thumbnail of my last film study was the word bad and an arrow pointing straight at him. He was not good in that game. But it's hard when you're having to carry so freaking much each and every week. Okay? Last year, he had Kendall Browse. Last year, he had healthy Rocket Sanders. Last year, he had Matt Landers. But Arkansas couldn't get any receivers from the transfer portal from a Power 5 school. Okay? And Armstrong's the only guy that's really making a difference. Tesla's okay. Look, this comes from someone neutral, not an Arkansas fan. A lot of my friends live in Fayetteville, though. I'm telling you right now. If I were to put blame on this Arkansas offense, I would honestly put 30 to 35% of it on KJ Jefferson and the rest on this situation. I do feel this is the worst offensive line in the SEC West. I do feel this is probably the worst wide receiver room in the SEC West. I do feel this is a bottom 3 running back room, especially with the way Rocket's playing now. And I do feel this is a bottom 3 play calling situation. One thing that I think SEC teams will note from this year. What's up, KJ? Good to see you. Tank, what's good? One thing, and Jared, look, I'll say this really quickly as well. Jared visited Fayetteville. He has no ties to Fayetteville. I have some ties to Fayetteville. Once again, one of my groomsmen lives there. A bunch of people's weddings I've been in, they all live there, basically. I freaking love it. I always tell people, go to Fayetteville. You're going to freaking love it. It's a great college city. And Mizzou. I got to go visit Mizzou, man. I've heard a lot of great things. But yeah, it's just he's just got nowhere to go oftentimes. And it's third and long. There's so many freaking penalties. And I'm going to use an example here. Okay. So let's take Jaden Daniels, for instance. So Jaden Daniels, he's playing unbelievable right now. He's got elite receivers. He's got an elite offensive line. He, like KJ, is an elite athlete. Now, KJ's nowhere close to the runner Jaden is, but he's a different style of runner. He's a power runner, right? Well, at his last stop, Jaden, at Arizona State, he didn't really have a whole lot of weapons. Actually, he did. His final year, he had a good running back and a good receiver, but the play calling sucked, and he had a lot of third and longs that he had to overcome. And KJ's having to do basically the same thing now. Okay, so truth be told, I know a lot of you want to see Criswell, but we'll go to Brandon's question right here. Do we start running KJ more and risk injury? Brandon, I'm going to say something that will also make sense. Okay. I think one of the silliest things that Arkansas had to do in the first 2 weeks was run KJ as much as he ran in those first 2 weeks. I also think, especially in the Western Carolina game, he just took way too many hits that he didn't need to take. And then in that Kent State game, he took a lot of hits because the only play that was working for you guys was quarterback power. And it was a slog to watch you guys try and get some offense going. And then the BYU game, your offensive line just fell apart. And, for me, Brandon, you might not have a choice. Quarterback power has been your best running play. I've been very hard on DeBinion with this pass protection. Your running back pass protection hadn't been that great. Your running backs aren't making a whole lot of guys miss. There's also not a whole lot of holes. I hate the run scheme. So part of the run scheme issues, Brandon, is it's a little too much east and west for me. I wish it was a little bit more vertical. And these blocks are just not being executed. And last week, because of the injuries, you tried this person here. You moved a guy in Brady Latham who wasn't already playing well. And then you're like, okay, this guy's not playing well. Let's try him somewhere else. And he didn't play well there. And then you're bringing in Chamblee, and Chamblee fell apart. It was a mess. What I do want to see, Brandon, is let's just say Luke Haas, for some reason, is able to come back soon. Let me see. I've not. Let me see if he's available. I'm guessing he's not available. I probably should have checked his timetable before I came on here. But one thing I would like to see Arkansas do is run more 12 personnel. Broken clavicle is Lucas, so he's probably out versus Alabama. He's out for the season. Okay. So that's why Woo Pig. So yeah, he's out for the season. I wish that wasn't the case. One thing I would have done, Woo Pig, already is so the Washington guy. This would piss me off if I was Sam Pittman. And this would piss me off if you're a Razorback fan. If there was ever a season for Arkansas to base out of 12 personnel, this would have been the season. Okay. And I'm sorry, guys, I didn't check to see if he was out for the season beforehand. Here's why I would have done out of 12 personnel. Okay, so 12 personnel is a 2 tight end set. Okay. And the team that uses 12 more than anybody else in the SEC is Georgia. Now, Georgia's got good tight ends. They have obviously Brock Bowers and Oscar Delp. And out of 12 personnel, you can do so much more than you can do out of 11. Okay? I truly do believe it. And you look at the teams right now in the NFL who run 12 more than anybody else. The Dolphins, the 49ers. Okay. And it's not necessarily that they run 12, it's just they don't run everything out of 11. Okay. So the reason why I like 12 is it gives you an extra hat in the running game. But now that you don't have that ability with Haas out, I don't think Varkey's Gums is the guy to run 12 with. I don't think what Bax is his name. I don't think that's a 12 personnel guy either. You can't really do it. But that's not here nor there. Now, we do this at the end of every Arkansas Razorback live stream that we do here is we take a look at the rest of the SEC. Okay? So I need you right now. We're not going to look at the rest of the SEC. We're also going to look at the rest of college football. What is your college football best bet this weekend in the SEC? Put Sherman out there. You give it to me right now. Your best bet in the SEC. Georgia up to 31.5 versus on the road at Vanderbilt. Man, Kentucky 2.5-point favorites. South Carolina 2.5-point favorites over Florida. Tennessee 3-point favorites over Texas A&M. Texas A&M is so bad with Jimbo Fisher on the road. I have bet against Texas A&M on the road so much, and it just hits. I mean, it's just how it is. Man, if I'm a Texas A&M Aggie in that locker room, and I know that I played an unbelievably competitive game versus Alabama, and it was my stupid coach to punt on 4th and inches, you might see a flat locker room from Texas A&M this weekend. I think my favorite play is the LSU Auburn over. Any game with Jaden Daniels at quarterback, I am just going to assume that the over is going to get hit. Okay, the LSU defense is still abysmal. I don't care that Auburn's not thrown for over 100 yards in a Power 5 game. So Brandon's going Auburn under 23.5 points scored. So for those that aren't familiar, you can bet sides against their number. Okay, so Auburn's over-under is at 23.5. Brandon's going under. Brandon, I'm going to tell you this. As someone who watches more LSU football than basically anybody on the planet, I would not be betting under anything when it comes to this LSU defense. And it's not like Auburn's not played good defenses. They have to play Cal week 2 on the road. Cal's not that good, but, I mean, it's a week 2 game on the road. And their other 2 SEC games have been Georgia and Texas A&M. Okay? This defense is not the LSU defense of old. So we take a look at this. Florida State, 17-point favorites versus Syracuse. Man, I think Florida State's going to blow them out, especially after a rough-ish kind of game last week. Oregon versus Washington is a game that I can't quit getting enough of. 3-point favorites. North Carolina, 3.5 versus Miami with the total at 57.5. Notre Dame, 3-point favorites versus USC. Oregon State, 3.5-point favorites versus UCLA. Still, the craziest thing to me, is this season is the year of the basketball school in football. UCLA is ranked. Duke is ranked. North Carolina is ranked. Louisville is ranked. Kentucky is ranked. Kansas is ranked. thought for a second that it said Ohio State was 16 and Purdue was 1. I don't know why. I guess it's because Purdue always gets beat by the 16 seed, right? Oh, that's a lame college basketball joke. They did get beat by a 16 seed this past year. I still don't know how that happens. So there you go. Now, hope you enjoyed this edition of Hog Live. We do it every Thursday. Tell your friends. I do this live stream in support of you Razorback fans because you guys blow up my film studies. I really appreciate that. So if you are an Arkansas Razorback fan, tell your friends to hang out with us. Can't have 50,000. It's not 50,000. It's like 10,000 people a week watching the Arkansas film study. And then the live stream, you guys don't want to chat. You don't want to hang out. You can ask me any question about any scheme, and I'll try my best to answer it. But this was a fun live stream. Big thanks to our top super chatter, the Apple Man, the Woo Pig Podcast. Shout out to the crew. And check them out. They do Arkansas Razorback content every single day. It is Power Hour SEC. Boom. So if you want more of me, you can go to my LSU channel, and we'll be live on there at 8:15 Central. Let's freaking go. Ba-da-ba.